Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Make America Civil Again. Before you do anything else, hit the subscription button down below, like, share, and be sure to leave a comment at the bottom. So today we're going to be talking about the border wall. So yes, I am here with a good family friend, Jeff. Jeff, thank you so much for taking your time out. So before we get started, would you mind just telling everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do? And
I am a son, a father, husband. I'm actually the papa of, you can probably see him in the background here, 3 beautiful granddaughters. I've also been involved in a radio ministry for a while. I'm no longer doing that. It's more kind of a web ministry. Okay. And I'm a registered nurse. And most importantly, I'm a Christian. And I say most importantly because I appreciate all the roles that I've been in, but can't do those roles very effectively without a relationship with Him.
What are your thoughts on the whole idea of having a border wall?
You know, it's, as you said, it's a hot button topic for sure. I think what I'm finding anyway is that with all the vitriol, the venomous communication, the divisiveness that exists, between our 2 major political parties and kind of in the world, really, for that matter, I think we kind of lose sight of the fundamentals. And, well, a perfect example of that would be the high school gentleman the other day who was confronted by a Native American gentleman. I won't say confronted, maybe that's not the proper way to put it, but he was approached by him. And I think many people arrived at conclusions that weren't accurate initially because they didn't really check out the entire video. They just came with some preconceived notions and thought, oh, because they're wearing, the MAGA hat, I guess they call them, that these must be horrible individuals. But I think we lost sight even of the fundamentals in that situation. When you really break it down, what you have is a guy who came up beating on a drum and singing in someone's face. And generally speaking, most people would probably say on a fundamental level, you're in my personal space. You probably need to back off. And again, the bottom line is the gentleman walked up to him, proceeded to beat on a drum and sing in his face. And if you really watch the video, you see there are occasions where the drum actually kind of bumps him. Yeah. And he still, he didn't react to it. And he responded actually very appropriately. And so, I'm not choosing sides on any of that, but again, people lose sight of the fundamentals and liken that to what's going on the border. I think we kind of tend to lose sight of really fundamentals in that situation. Most people who have property will place a fence around their property or some type of barrier because, if for no other reason, it's my property and I want to differentiate between my property being on this side of the barrier and my neighbor's property being on the other side of the barrier. I have a pool, to God forbid that a child would walk into my yard and get into my pool and potentially drown. How horrible would that be? So I have a wall to prevent that from happening. I have self-closing gates to stop that from happening. So I think those are kind of fundamentals when you look at it. I have doors and windows in my home, as do you, to prevent unwanted guests from coming in, or uninvited guests, I should say. If I was a bit trepidatious in opening the door for somebody, and when I proceeded to let them know I wasn't going to, if they threw rocks at my door, I would probably be a little concerned about that. I certainly wouldn't go, oh, hey, excuse me, come on in. Yeah. Now that you threw rocks at my door, I should have let you in to begin with. I don't think that gives a real good message. And so I think that a wall is necessary.
You say fundamentals, what do you mean by basic fundamentals, like basic fundamentals of humans having the right to protect themselves?
Yeah, I think just a fundamental concept is that I have doors and windows to protect what's on the inside. I have walls to protect what's in the inside. And it's not to suggest that every individual who would hope to come to the United States is a threat to what's on the inside of our borders. I'm not suggesting that, but I think there's a proper way to come in here. So the fundamental concept is we do it in our own homes on an individual basis. Why wouldn't we do it in something of a far greater capacity like a country? Why would we not have borders there? Yeah. Or barriers there, fences, walls, whatever
Yeah.
individual chooses to call it.
Yeah.
We have peepholes in our doors, bringing it down again to the individual level. You see devices today that you can attach to your doorbell, where there's cameras and things there. Why do we do that? There is somewhat of a vetting process that goes on when somebody knocks on your door, even approaches your door nowadays. And so, again, something of really far greater magnitude is having a vetting process for a country. You can't just let anybody in, and I think that's really kind of what's being fundamentally lost in this whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. One of the big issues with the border wall is the fact that some people are saying that it's a lot of women and children trying to come over looking for asylum to get away from whatever they've come from, and they're saying because of the border wall, we are stripping people away from their ability to escape whatever they might be running away from. Like, what would you say to someone who would say something along those lines?
I recognize that the country is a melting pot country. You have individuals from a variety of cultural, ethnic, and racial backgrounds. This country was really based upon that. And so I'm not opposed to individuals coming here, particularly if the life that they're living is not acceptable. I'm all for that, actually. But I think, again, a vetting process needs to be in place. It needs to be maintained. And I think deviation from that will only result in creating issues that really could be avoided. I don't really hear people saying, no, stop them. What I hear is, we need to vet them. We can't just let people come over the border freely. And so that would be my response to somebody who says that. What about those individuals? You're right, what about them? Have them come, but let's do the proper vetting process with them.
Okay, you're definitely for immigration.
All of our relatives were immigrants at some point. I'm kind of a mutt, but I probably have several different types of ancestry to me, but this is a great country. It is the land of opportunity, as so many people perceive it, and I believe that. I live it. And so, I think that, yes, let's provide opportunities for people, but go through the proper chain.
Yeah.
And I've known of many individuals who have done it the right way, and I'm all for that. I welcome that.
Okay. But one other thing people are saying is the border wall represents racism. I know you're not a racist. You and my dad are best friends, and if everyone can tell. so my question.
I'm white as Casper, and you're not.
The point is, I know you're not a racist, but you're for the border wall. Why do you think people assume border wall equals racism?
Honestly, I think that's a political ploy. I really don't think that most people feel that way. Our Congress certainly is comprised of many individuals from many ethnic and racial backgrounds. So they've made the decision to have a border wall or fence or barrier of some sort. I can guarantee you that some of those individuals in Congress are of the same ethnic or racial group that exists on the southern border, other side of the southern border.
Yeah.
So are they racist and going against their own race? I don't see it that way. And unfortunately, politics has gotten into the mix far more than it should. I don't know that we've ever seen the divisiveness that we've seen, basically since our last election.
Yeah.
The language and the disrespect on both sides of the political aisle.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think people just need to come together and demonstrate a little love for each other, and the world will be probably a whole lot different.
Yeah. On what level do you think a wall would help with illegal immigration?
I think it's a deterrent, probably more than anything. Is it the cure-all? I don't believe that. I think there needs to be significant immigration reform, no doubt about that. But I do think it is an effective deterrent. It's kind of interesting because you've heard people say that the wall is ineffective and unnecessary. I think most people have seen, I made reference to it earlier, the rock throwing that occurs at the wall or the fence. So if it's ineffective, why are they throwing rocks? Because they can't get in. So obviously it's somewhat effective. I do believe that it will decrease the number of individuals getting over the border illegally.
Yeah.
Now, could people build tunnels and try various methods to get over and under and around somehow? Probably. But I think the idea that the current administration has for the construction of this will be very effective. And I think it'll be less likely that people are able to climb it and people are able to tunnel under it. I think the bottom line, kind of taking this a bit further, is just to really consider what are those individuals who work on the border saying about it. You know, they're right there in the mix. So I think that they're saying that yes, it will be effective and it'll be helpful. And so, you know, who better to speak to that than those who are involved?
Do you have any final thoughts, anything you'd like to say to anyone who might disagree with you, who might agree with you? Like, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
You know, what I find interesting is individuals will generally choose a political party that their parents chose. You know, that's often the case. There are certainly exceptions to that rule, but generally speaking, you see that. And they'll watch the news that supports that particular political party. Mm-hmm. And so I think that if I left anything with anybody, it would be to open your mind a little bit, listen to various perspectives. You may not agree with it, but just check it out and see what's out there. Because I can change the channel and go from one news source to the next, and you can see a whole boatload of different things. Yeah. Just clicking the dial, and so clicking the remote, I guess. But that I think is a big deal. The people need to kind of broaden their perspective a little bit. Be willing to listen to both sides, you know, because there are, in actuality, valid points on both sides. Mm-hmm. And I do think that a wall is necessary. I think that again, kind of going back to a fundamental concept of protecting yourself. And if we do it on an individual basis, why wouldn't we do it on a larger scale? Something that, you know, is far greater significance, that of a country, you know. And so I think that people need to just kind of step back and take a look at it. I think if I could leave something even better than that, it's just try to love. You know, I mean, seriously, that's, you know, people say that I'm looking for love in all the wrong places or what have you, but I know the place to look, that's God. But not to preach a sermon, but I think that that's a big deal. I think that there is so much negativity and such divisiveness today. It's just ugly, really. And I think that if people just go, you know what, I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to look at the man or the woman in the mirror first and kind of make the changes that I need to make. Mm-hmm. Sound like Michael Jackson for a minute there, but, you know, I love Michael. But, you know, I think that that's a big deal. That if people will do that, they will see things very differently.
Well, Jeff, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to chat with me. And I want to say thank you to you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And leave a comment at the bottom. Tell me what you think. But I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. Jeff, thank you so much.
Good to see you.